What's up? Welcome back to Brando's World of XGames. Really excited about this next guest. One of the most successful BMX riders of all time. He's in the XGames Hall of Fame, the first son of Los Gatos, California. He is Ryan Nyquist. Ryan, thanks for joining us. A lot to get into. First and foremost, though, where are you?
I'm in the desert. It's really hot here in the desert where I'm at. In the desert, it's hot. So I'm just in the desert.
It looks like
I got a random Wi-Fi signal. I was like, "What's up? Let's just do like an XGames stream," you know?
It looks like an incredible green screen, but explain to our viewers watching, literally, where are you right now?
Yeah, so I'm in Wilmington, North Carolina. I'll back up so you can see. But basically, my wife and I own like a fitness studio called Amplify Cycle and Strength, and because I have kids, I decided this is probably the quietest place I could go, and we have good Wi-Fi here. So, but you can kind of see we have this place painted up with a mural. So I was like, dude, this would be a sick backdrop. So I just decided to come in here. And
yeah, a lot of people don't know, Ryan, how great of an artist you are. You hand painted everything we're seeing on these walls, correct?
Yes, and I paint with my mouth. So that's
right.
Really interesting.
That's right.
Yeah.
With your molars.
With my hands.
Not even your front teeth.
Exactly.
It's the back teeth. Yeah.
And I to ensure the quality, I actually tie my hands behind my back, which some people say is dangerous. But hey, man, I'm in the XGames. You know, whatever.
That's why we love you. It's the integrity. You will not compromise, Ryan. That's what we love about you. Hey, a lot to get into. Thank you so much for joining us. Before we get going, though, we always like to have our athletes enter the hot box. 20 questions. How quickly can you answer them? It looks like you're sweating. I don't know if this is or what's going on.
I told you this is a hot yoga studio, and it is not cold in here. I am like this is sweat. I'm in it like by the
Ryan, you didn't have to turn the heat on. You wanted to get your workout in so bad that you said, I'm going to do Bikram while I do the interview. You're a warrior.
That's me in a nutshell. I just, as if it wasn't hot and humid enough in North Carolina, I'm literally just sweating inside too.
Okay. So now you're going to.
This would be a good progress report. At the beginning of the interview, we see minimal sweat trends. And at the interview, let's check back in, see where we're at.
So for the show, this is a figurative hot box, but you are literally in a hot box right now. So this is Inception, truly. But you ready, sir?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Fries or tater tots?
Fries.
Cargo shorts or jean shorts?
Jean shorts.
Jankos or skinny jeans?
Ooh. Probably skinny jeans, though I don't like either one.
What event or contest should come back to the XGames?
Extreme bungee jumping.
Good answer. Favorite fast food?
Chipotle.
First CD you ever bought?
Ooh. Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses. Whatever the one. Welcome to the Jungle.
Appetite for Destruction. Favorite Will Ferrell movie?
Old School.
Jean-Claude Van Damme or Steven Seagal?
Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Last time you wore a tie?
Dude. Maybe.
If it starts with a 19 in front of it, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
Favorite cereal?
S'mores. It's like a mix of Golden Grams, Cocoa Puffs, and it has marshmallows. It's ridiculous.
Sounds homemade. Nickelback or Creed?
Creed, probably. I don't really know much Nickelback except Where's this photograph? Whatever that one is.
That's beautiful. What kind of favorite pizza topping?
Jalapeno.
Favorite holiday food?
Tacos for Cinco de Mayo. Is that a holiday?
Oh, that's good. Yeah, dogs or cats?
Probably dogs, but I like cats too.
Who was the best Batman?
Oh man, that's Bale. What's his name?
Christian Bale. No question. Yeah. Dark Knight. What is your favorite Harry Potter movie?
Man, to be honest, I haven't seen all of them, so let's go with the first one.
That's that really says it all. Favorite character from Rad?
Oh, Drew Jones, man, he killed it.
Of course. Okay. Better Keanu Reeves franchise, The Matrix or John Wick?
I personally like The Matrix.
Ooh, okay. The Matrix or Bill and Ted's franchise?
Ooh. Excluding, I'm curious about this new one coming out, but like,
yeah, as am I.
The first one was pretty banger, Bill and Ted's, but yeah, I don't know, man. That's a toss-up.
Okay, and then finally, that toss-up or Point Break?
I always thought Point Break was kind of cheesy. I had a hard time buying that he was an FBI agent and like a total surfer dude, even though
I am an FBI agent.
Exactly. Like I get it, but it's just like, yeah. So I'm gonna go with that toss-up. The other one, Matrix or Bill and Ted's.
Time coming in at 3:39. All right, we'll put that in the standings. We'll let you know at the end of the year where that stands. Now's a good time after you've completed the hot box if you'd like to thank all of your sponsors. So if you've got a sponsor list, please let it rip after a performance like that, Ryan.
Wow, well, you know, the hot box was really hot. It was literally, I was sweating when I was doing it, but you know, I couldn't have done it with the support of my team and my crew, my sponsors. I'd love to thank, you know, Haro Bikes, Rockstar Energy Drinks, Vans Shoes, Depth Gloves, and CTI knee braces, and the Jiffy Market of Los Gatos, because, you know, without them, I would have never really gotten free lemon heads or, you know, really gotten, I had a deal with them at one point where I would put the sticker on my helmet of the Jiffy Market Los Gatos, and they would give me anything with lemon in it free. So lemon juice bars, lemonade.
Who else has? Congratulations, you're out of the hot box. Who else has a like a convenience store sponsorship deal? That's amazing.
Yeah, it was just like the Jiffy Market of Los Gatos was like this corner. It kind of started originally as like a grocery liquor store, and then it ended up going more like liquor store. But that's where I worked in high school. And then while I was working there, I turned pro, and they always made a joke that they were going to make stickers and I was going to put on my helmet. I was like, oh, whatever, like I'll do that. And then sure enough, they made like a bunch of them, like a lot of them. So I still have them on my helmet because I don't know, they're just awesome guys. For a while there, I was going back to Los Gatos it was like the first week in December, and they would have the Los Gatos Christmas parade. And we had basically a rolling box jump made out of an old Cadillac hearse, and we converted it to where like the lip would like lower up and then you would jump over the whole thing, and then we would just drive it down the road, lower the lip, jump it, do backflips. And so yeah, it was a big hit for the Los Gatos. We won many first place prizes. I don't want to brag, but we did really well.
Okay. I would have to. I grew up going to that parade. I think I recall a time or two of seeing that. You mentioned lip, dude. And I hope we roll this when the interview does air live. The B-roll of you going absolutely bananas on the lip of the quarter off Mega Ramp on your Instagram. What was going on there, dude? Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So we had like Woodward West had invited us out for like, they called it like a shootout. So they invited different companies and their teams to come out and like kind of film and edit. And I had this kind of idea that I wanted to do like a toothpick, which is where you like stall on the front peg on the quarter pipe, which is 27 feet tall. And I wanted to do a toothpick to bar out. And it took a long time. It was just really weird with the speed. And you know, it's hard to describe, but like if you're just riding like a 6 foot quarter, you can kind of like guess the speed pretty easily. There's not a huge variance in speed, but when you're riding like a 27 foot tall quarter, you can't see the top when you're going at it. So it took me probably a good 3 or 4 hours to just get one single toothpick where I was stalling the front peg. And when I got that one, I knew I was like, I have to throw the bars. So I threw them, it worked, rolled away. But during that whole process, I was getting super nervous because it was taking so long, and we only had, we were only there for a weekend, and everybody needed to film. We had one filmer, so I was taking up some valuable time. So when I would go out for the toothpick and not make it and be up on the deck, I just decided, okay, well, I'm going to get clips of me like doing random stuff on the roll-in. So one of the clips that made it was me just funny how bar spinning into it and rolling in. So I was just trying to like salvage it while I was trying to get this one clip. But yeah, that was wild, man. That it's one of those ideas. I was like, I don't know if it's going to work. It might seem kind of scary. It sounds weird, but I'm afraid of heights. So being on the edge of something like that tall was a little bit terrifying, to be honest. And then when I finally did it, it was like this relief of like, thank God that worked. And like, thank God I don't have to be up on that tall thing anymore either. So like, it was just like kind of a lot of relief there, but
that brings me to my next question about, you mentioned fear of heights. Is that what has kind of kept you from ever like really competing in like on mega or doing big air?
No, actually, there was a period of time where I was like pretty committed to it. I couldn't tell you the year, but basically it was right around the time when the whole international XGames stuff was going on. Like we were going to Brazil and Germany, and they were doing mega ramp at every single stop. And so for me, I was like, makes sense. Like, let me get in on this. So I started going to Woodward West and riding it and stuff. And then I didn't respect it. That ramp needs respect. And I went there with just like, I put on a full face, but like, you know, I had shorts and some knee pads with no shin guards and just my regular elbow pads. But like, when you look at the guys that ride it, every inch of their body is covered up. And I never understood why until I slammed on that ramp. And as I'm sliding down, I crashed on just a 360 over the jump. And I was sliding down, and I remember feeling my palm burning because I had my hands out and I was just sliding on my palms, and it was burning through my glove and then burning through my skin. So I moved to my elbow pads, and then while I was sliding on my elbow pads, I realized that my shoes got literally pulled off my feet. And then I felt burning on the top of my foot, which was my foot dragging. And then the skate light was literally like, I'm going at such a high speed that burnt holes in my socks and then burnt holes in the tops of my feet. And then I had to, so you're like, the landing of these things are ridiculous. So it's like a 4-minute long crash, right? So I just keep sliding, but I keep having to shift because things are like starting to burn through articles of clothing. So like the tops of my feet got burnt. I shifted, my ankle hit for like a split second, and then that burnt through. So by the time I got done with this, I like looked at myself and I was like, what am I doing? Like this thing had just ate me alive. Like I got way over my head. And like, you know, like Zach Warden and a bunch of guys were like, no, come on, man. Like, just give another shot. Like that one's really finicky with the speed, and you need to be like this and that. You should come to Bob's house and ride Bob Nyquist. Like his is better. And I just was like, I think I'm done. It just hit me so hard. I think I'm done.
Other than that 4-minute slow motion crash, how was everything else with your first run in? Jeez. No, it is wild how it's, and now it's like, it must be crazy for you who's ridden everything and done a little bit of everything over your BMX career, but to now see kids on both BMX side, like hitting this, not even mini, like the actual mega ramp, you know, before their 12th birthday.
Yeah, that to me is, there's so many things that just seem really odd about that, because I can't imagine being 12 and, you know, like just getting so excited about sectioning a 27-foot tall quarter, or like sending like, you know, a ridiculous flip or like a 720 over like the gap. And it doesn't, I don't know, it just doesn't ring true to me. So like seeing kids like that, you know, especially like skateboard, it's like, that's insane. Like, you know, just the courage and the confidence that kids have, but also like just knowing like like a lot of those kids don't weigh much at all. So like I know that's a factor when you're rolling in a massive thing. It's like you're generating more speed. So I'm just like, okay, how does that, like, I don't know. I guess you got to try somewhere or start somewhere, but it just, a lot of that just seems so odd, you know, but they're killing it. Like, it's just nuts. So yeah, it's fascinating to me. Like, we haven't really seen a lot of young kids on BMX doing it yet, but I mean, it's very clear that, you know, skateboard, there's like a whole generation of people that are going to come up just destroying mega.
Well, it's just like a fearlessness of like, you know, whether it was Danny Way or Bob Burnquist or Matt Hoffman, Kevin Robinson, is like they had the fortitude to try this, but also knew the risk. But I think especially on the skate side, you're seeing kids that like, you know, they don't know any better, right? Like they're just like, yeah, this is a part of skateboarding, or this is, you know, what we're supposed to do. And that's just wild.
I mean,
to not have that mentality.
They were sitting there looking at these guys going like, oh, Danny Way, like I watched that DC part. Oh my God, like I want to do that, you know? And then they have, I mean, if you lived in Southern California, it seemed like there was like a mini mega or a mega ramp set up somewhere at some point that you could hop on if you knew the right person. So, you know, probably a little bit of like, you know, your environment kind of breeds that kind of skater or rider, but it's still pretty amazing. Like, you know what? I just thought of a new XGames discipline, which would be pretty sick, is doing moto mega ramp. So best trick leading right into a quarter pipe.
Dude, okay. You and I offline, let's start putting this together. We'll present it to our bosses. If it were just me, it's not getting through. We put Ryan Nyquist's name on it.
Yeah.
Wet the beak a little bit. Okay.
Maybe we'll change the name a little bit, like called like Mega Moto Quist. Got a nice ring to it.
Ryan, I don't know if that's off the cuff or you've been thinking about this, because that, my friend, is brilliant.
This fresh desert air that I'm breathing in and sweating out, like all the toxins.
Something about that hot yoga environment's just getting the juices flowing.
This might be peyote. I don't know. I don't know what's going on here.
Real quick, back to kind of the original line of questioning with the toothpick and the lip tricks. That, you know, toothpicks, nose picks, you've been known to throw a few of those here and there. It kind of feels like a little bit of a lost art form, at least in contests. Why do you think that is? Could that enjoy a renaissance maybe now or in the near future, possibly?
Yeah, I mean, front brakes in general, I mean, for a long time. I mean, I've been running front brakes for years, and before me, I looked up to, you know, guys like Mira and Jay Mira and Osato, like just guys that really just could just kill a front brake and just had that balance point and could just, you know, sit on your front wheel and manipulate the bike and do it. Just, when I started, I didn't have any desire to do it. And what actually got me going on the front brake stuff was the fact that I figured out that there were certain tricks you could do jumping that if you hit the front brakes, it would change the dynamics of everything you were doing. Tricks like, you know, like suicide no head 360. You hit the front brakes in the air and you can take your hands off. So by me learning some of these tricks while jumping led to me sort of like, you know, on days that I didn't feel like going massive or crazy, I could just like kind of fool around on like the box jump lip and do some nose picks and stuff like that. And I fell in love with that style of riding. It was just like, wow, this is really different and a whole different skill technique. So in some senses, the front brake, yeah, it's a bit of a lost art, but at the same time, the next generation of riders coming up are destroying it without a front brake. You know, like guys like Kostya, like the Russian rider, he is just doing the most insane technical riding by just putting his foot in the tire, you know, doing foot jam nose picks. But he is one guy that I feel like is that next generation of like Dave Osato or Tobias Vika, you know, guys that just like completely destroyed the front wheel. And there's a handful of other guys as well, but just, you know, like he's that next generation of guy that like, it's almost like he's doing jumping tricks. Like I've seen him do like 360 bar to down whip to foot jam nose pick to bar spin in. And you're just like, you just did a jumping trick that likely I'm never going to do over a full-size dirt jump or box. And you landed on your front tire. Okay, whatever, man. Like, just keep doing what you're doing. It's awesome to watch.
Speaking of awesome to watch, your part dropped, a month ago for Haro? And dude, tell us about that. That is such a fun watch. If you haven't checked it out on YouTube, I know it's on there right now, but tell us about that part.
Yeah, it's called 4041, and I got the name. It was really creative. I was 40 years old when I started filming it, and then it lasted until I was 41. So I was
Okay, hold on. Let me do the math here. Figure it out.
Seriously. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
like,
I see. Okay, got
yeah,
it.
so it came to me in like a vision in the desert again. But yeah, filmed it. It took a lot longer than I kind of hoped. But the end product, like, I'm super duper stoked on. Dan Foley was the guy that I was filming with, and he just killed it as far as the imagery and the editing. I couldn't be happier. He found the song too, and I thought the song was awesome. So yeah, when I kind of went to Haro and was like, I want to film like an edit. I want to kind of go in and make it really awesome. And so kind of got some of the creative juices flowing with, I was going off like a 10-foot quarter and had a target and was like nose bonking my front tire off of stuff, like no hand, like doing up a suicide no hander, and then, manipulating my knees to be able to bonk without my hands on, and just some fun stuff like that. And then finally, I'd been sitting on the 900 for about a year, and I just wanted it to debut in that video. So I like didn't do it ever. Like, I didn't post about it. I didn't tell anybody except for close friends. And then that was kind of my ender banger, which a lot of guys have done 900s, but it had been such a big goal of mine for so many years, just to stick one. And so I basically was the very first one I tried, I just went as fast as I could go because it didn't make sense to go low and try to spin faster. I just wanted to make sure I had plenty of time. So I literally, as fast as I could go, and just spun. And yeah, and then basically I kind of got them dialed in and debuted in the video. But yeah, really
How hard
the way it turned out. I want to maybe try to film another one here soon.
How hard was it to keep that under wraps, that 9, like knowing that you had it for a while? Because I just feel like we're in such an age where, time is money, and you just feel like if I don't post this on social, it's either somehow it's going to get leaked somewhere, or time's going to pass by and maybe it won't feel as impactful. Obviously it worked out because it's a great ender to this part, but that must have been tough to like sit on that.
It was, and to be totally honest, like I really, this is at a time when I was kind of pursuing the Olympics as like an athlete, and I was like waiting for the right setup, the right course where I could just basically like twist a 9 and do it. And I think it must have been 2019, because nothing's going on in 2020. 2019, there was like a contest in Montpellier, and I was ready to just send it, and I didn't even get there in my run. So it was like one of those things where I was like, oh, it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
I got to like kind of keep it under wraps, but I really wanted to like kind of have the stage to do something like that on, and just have like a bang and run, and then just like be pedaling out a quarter pipe last run, like 5 seconds left, and just end the run on that. That was kind of like the dream. And I never really got to do it, but the fact that I got to like kind of surprise that many people online with something that they just, a lot of people thought that, they'd see me do all the tricks and I wasn't really progressing. So to come out with that video and then have that as the ender, like, I think it kind of opened a lot of people's eyes to the fact that like, oh, okay, like he's still doing it, like, it's just weird when you get to a certain age. I think people just assume like you just wither up and die or something like that. And I'm like, I'm still out there just cruising,
You bring up the Olympics, which begs a couple of questions. Obviously, one, it's crazy spanning your career to think that BMX would have been this summer making its Olympic debut, but to transition from trying to maybe earn a roster spot as an athlete, but then to transition and actually get the call to become a coach. Talk to us about how that kind of came to be, because for those who maybe don't know, you are the Team USA BMX head coach for the Olympics, correct?
Correct. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of time, so I'll try to condense it into a very short version. But when word that the Olympics was being considered that BMX was being considered for the Olympics, I made a couple just phone calls because I knew it was going to be like a hurry up and get things organized thing. I wanted to make sure that, it was done correctly. I just didn't want it to be put in the hands of somebody that was like, yeah, I used to ride BMX when I was a kid. I know the sport. I wanted to be involved and make sure it was done right, because it was a big opportunity for us as a sport and for, for a lot of riders to be able to get in there and have this amazing show. I mean, like with the X Games, like when it first came on the scene, it made such an impact, like, and I was like, I want to feel like that, like to have that excitement and that push. So I really wanted to go off with that hit. So I made some phone calls and just talked to people and said, listen, I think it's going to go, but if you need any resources or whatever, just lean on me. And then I was still teetering on, like, in my head, I was like, I could do this. Like, I know I can do this. And it's funny because at the time I had switched over I've been dabbling in mountain bike stuff. So I did 3 years over there, had some good success, and then was just like, all right, like the Olympics, I'm coming back in. And I didn't really give myself enough time or do the research to really know that I was already behind the ball as far as like points, standings, all this stuff. So I was playing catch up the entire time. And that's a hard position to be in when you have guys like Nick Bruce and Daniel Sandoval and, a handful of other people from the US that you're trying to compete against. Right. So it got to a point where the US had gotten organized and they were looking for somebody to do coaching. And I told them, I was like, well, I still want to pursue the athlete side, but I can work with the women and help them because I'm going to be at all the events. So I started doing the women coaching first and working with like Angie Marino, Paris Benegas, and Hannah Roberts, and just, Nina Butrago, like, an awesome crew of women, and helping them like just plan runs, learn tricks. And that was like, I found like a really, I don't know, like a huge reward in that, which I didn't know I was going to find, but it's like really awesome to see when you help someone and you put that work in and you like kind of guide them and you start knowing the riding, like, and seeing them succeed from that, like it's a rush. So I was like, wow, okay, I could see myself really getting into this. And then basically when the athlete thing didn't work out, I was like, okay, approached by them and said, well, are you interested in doing the men too? And I said, basically like, yeah, let's do it. And so I took on the coaching role for the men and women. And then it's been great, man. It's been really, really fun, and it's there's a little bit of pressure there, but man, I don't know. Right now, it seems like it's like a walk in the park compared to being the guy that has to perform. Like if they don't do well, I'm like, man, better look next time. Whereas like if it was me at the X Games and I crashed, like I'm just like, oh,
sure,
like
dwelling.
Oh, dude, the next month's ruined. Don't even talk to me. I'm done. Just don't even talk to me.
Did you have to retrain? Did you have to retrain? As you said, it's a different philosophical approach entirely. So in a lot of ways, it's easier because you don't feel the pressure. But having said that, being still competing currently and something that you've done, for the better part of 25 plus years. I mean, is it easy to just take that competitor helmet off and now just put the coach jacket on and just like be in that setting and look at strictly through a coach's lenses now?
Yeah, it's a bit of an adjustment, because I like I am still competing, and ideally, like I would love to be out there in the athlete role, but I also know that there's a need for someone to like help these athletes, and I feel like I'm in a very unique position with my experience, with my achievements, and all that stuff to be able to help that next generation through all kinds of situations, whether it's pressure or whether it's, strategizing runs or whatever. It's like, I feel like I'm in a very good position to be able to help. And so, seeing that side of it, and then knowing that I can still go to an event like the X Games or a simple session and still compete because, those are totally separate deals. Like I'm kind of being able to do the best of both worlds. And that's awesome because I could see myself doing the coaching thing for a long time. And that's very, very easy on the body compared to, sending yourself. But the other thing that's been nice too is, like the Haro video, the 4041, like I love that I can kind of focus on more creative projects too, or like doing fun stuff for Instagram or whatever it is. Like, I'm kind of realizing that there's a lot more out there than just, than just competing, and I'm loving the journey that I'm on with that and just discovering what I can do and what's possible.
Well, you have a great home setting to discover creative lines and different things. And I'm not talking about this desert yoga studio that you're in, but your home, the backyard. You have created quite a dream backyard, my friend. Obviously, you filmed a ton of your part back there, and it looks like you got a little bit of everything. Talk to us about sort of the concept for that, and if it's continuing to evolve, and what your backyard's got right now.
Yeah, it's like, so basically the backyard came about when I had to tear down my dream skate park, which was about 2 hours away in Greenville, called the Unit. And it was just time to take it down. And I was like, well, I still need something to continue my riding and continue pushing myself. And just, you know, even from the day to day, to get out there and just like, yeah, it's like a huge stress release. It's like, it's my happy place. So I knew that I needed something in my life like that, you know, bigger ramps. Through the years, I've just learned that I don't like riding much of anything that's lower than 6 foot. You know, it's just, I like bigger ramps, and I like floating and riding fast. So I built that in the backyard. I built, like, you know, it's kind of everything I need in a very small package. It's got a vert wall for speed to hit a good 6 foot tall box jump, a 10-foot quarter with like a kind of a mellower landing next to it that's 13 foot. Next to the box jump is like a 6 foot spine. And then I have like a 7-foot quarter after that. And it is something that's constantly evolving. We're kind of thinking about adding on a few things here and there, just to make it flow a little bit better and give you some different options. But, you know, that's like the main piece in the backyard. But it's funny because as of recently, I got like a little Yamaha 110 TTR.
Oh, I've seen you toot around on that. That looks pretty rad.
It's amazing, man. Well, I started with like a little Honda 50, because I was never like a moto guy, and I was always terrified that, like, I have 2-wheel confidence, but I lack a lot of skill on those bikes. So I started like a little 50 that I was literally like this, like, nee. So much fun though, like just like the most fun ever. And then once I got more comfortable, I got on a 110, and now I have a little bit more power. And it's just like, it's honestly a neighborhood thing. Like, there's like 5 dads in our neighborhood that either have like 110s or like little like 80 to 100 cc quads, and we just ride it around our hood. We have a track that goes in my backyard to my neighbor's backyard, and he has a quad, and it's just this loop. And then just like catty corner across the street, another neighbor has like this fully like track that goes in and out of like this bamboo like kind of forest, and then comes out, and then we have like this big sand berm. And we built like this, I mean, it's teeny step up, but, you know, it's just like we get together on Sundays and we just call it track day, and we just go out there and we just rip them around, get the shovels out, dig some stuff. And so yeah, there's that. I got like a pump track for my kids back there.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Yeah, that's really fun. And then I recently had like, I'm working on a foam pit. So I had this roll in that I had for like just a big double, but I converted that into a foam pit. So I'm working on getting a cover that's going to keep snakes and rain and stuff out of there, because, you know, like having like a pit of snakes and jumping into it just doesn't sound very appealing to me. So I'm trying my best to like get that sealed up as best I can. But that's the next big project, is getting the foam pit done so I can start getting some of those harder tricks going, and then the confidence, and bring it over to the box jump, and then hopefully be able to film some new stuff.
I got a question for you. Do you still have my favorite episode of MTV Cribs still to this day is the 2005 episode starring Ryan Nyquist, Tony Hawk, and JoJo, and pop artist JoJo. But your episode, after watching this, please, if you haven't seen it, go on YouTube and watch Ryan Nyquist Cribs episode. It's amazing, so funny. But what I want to ask is that Lincoln Continental that you had in the episode, I totally remember this. You popped open the trunk and you had a stovetop and like a blender and a toaster. 1, do you still have that car? And 2, was that real?
So I don't have the car. Again, like, same thing. I've never been an engine guy. You know, I don't wash my cars. I don't take care of things properly. It's just never really been like a passion of mine, you know, like Bucky's super into cars. Like, I remember him at the last X Games, like, sitting me down and be like, so dude, if you could have any car, like, what would be your dream car? And I was like, dude, I used to have this 2008 Prius. It was so sick. And like, and he was like, no, like
No, anything.
I was like,
Money's
yeah,
no
dude,
option.
it had rims on there. It was sick. Dude, the best gas mileage. It was so dope. I could like fill up once and I would go for like 3 weeks in California. Like, and he was just like, you're not
getting it. Yeah.
Cool story, man. I'll talk to you later. But like, I just like that thing needed constant love and maintenance. And I just wasn't the guy for it. So I sold it. I can't remember how long I had it for, but it kind of just sat there. And I didn't even really drive it. And one time I went out to drive it, it broke down. And I was just like, yeah, I kind of just want something that's like reliable. So I did sell it, unfortunately. But it was, I mean, yeah, like I think it was a 65 with suicide doors. Like the thing was, it was badass. Like it was sick. But so the other question was, all that stuff real? Maybe it was. I mean, you saw the blender work. You saw the blender work. You know, the stove was there. It was ready to cook. I mean,
there are absolute gems from this episode. If you haven't seen it, like I said, YouTube it. He's got the Lincoln Continental that opens up and he's like cooking breakfast, pulls out the lawn chair. I feel like you invented Photoshop with your wall of fame, where you just basically inserted yourself in all of these framed pictures with like Hollywood celebrities. And dude, honestly, the line of the episode, the line of the year for me, because I remember using that, this was in an era where Cristal was everything, dude. Like hip hop everywhere was all about Cristal. And when you opened up your fridge and said you found Cristal Light, and it was the Crystal Lights, I lost it, dude. That's still one of the funniest things I've ever seen on TV.
Oh yeah, that was, yeah. So the funny thing is I didn't want to do the Cribs episode. Like they approached me and I was like, I don't think so. And my agent at the time was like, you should really rethink your answer. And I was like, I just don't like, I like my home life. I'm fairly private. I just, you know, if I give that up, what's left? And it was a really weird mentality because, you know, Cribs is such a big deal. And I was like, nah. So anyways, he was like, just rethink it. I started thinking about like all this kind of funny stuff I could do because it was such a serious thing. You know, you had people that were just like, oh, check out my 3,000 cars that all cost like $100,000. No big deal. Look at my gold-plated ceiling. I have like a platinum pooper. It's just like, you know, like what? Like I don't have any of that stuff. So then I started thinking like, what could I do to like stand out? And I was like, I'll just make this funny. I'll almost make it like kind of like a play on Cribs. So I told him, I was like, can I just do it my way? Like, you can do whatever you want. I was like, okay. So I started, like you said, my younger brother, Shay, he did that wall of fame. We just started finding images of people. So like, you know, like he found one of like, oh my God. What? Like,
I just watched it again. But there's one of like, you were like, it's George Clooney, Brad Pitt, and you, and you're like, oh, and you're like, here we are on the set of Ocean's 11.
Yeah, and there was one of me like it was in like the Trans Am with Burt Reynolds, you know, like, and he had photoshopped me into the passenger seat, just leaning forward, like hey, what's up? And yeah, so like that was my younger brother Shay did all those, and that was awesome. Like I remember like many people might know, but like Carrie Strug, like when she broke her foot or ankle, like in the Olympics, and like someo's carrying her off, and they made me the guy carrying her off the mat, and so I don't know. So yeah, and then the Cristal Light thing.
Dude.
I was like, I gotta show my fridge, so and I was just thought Cristal Light, that makes sense. But
you showed off your master bathroom shower, and you said you want to throw a shower party in there.
Yeah, that was fun. There was like benches in there and that was a good shower.
No, it's hilarious, and I love it because at that time it was like so many people with like these like 10,000 square foot mansions, and then as you said, there are 15 cars, and you kind of flipped it on its head. It was funny. But
I watch that one again. I gotta post little tidbits of that because I haven't watched that one in a long time.
Please, you'll go down a Ryan Nyquist rabbit hole if you do that. Talk to us about X Games. Just your career, 16 X Games medals, but as they say, you never forget your first. 1997, I believe, was your first X Games, Dirt and Park, I want to say, and I think you earned a medal that very first X Games you competed in, right?
I did in dirt jumping. It wasn't the color I was hoping for, but honestly, I wasn't expecting any medals at all. So, yeah, it was. The funny thing is when I started competing and turned pro, we had this thing called the BS series, the Bicycle Stunt Series, and I remember, showing up, doing really well in an amateur contest, and then basically asking them like, "Can I turn pro?" And they were like, "Sure." So I just signed up for pro and paid the entry fee, and then ended up getting I think I got like 5th places the whole year or something like that. And I was riding for this company called Bontrager at the time. And then fast forward to 1997, and I started riding for Haro, and then started getting about the same. Maybe I might have gotten a podium, but I went up to Steve Swope, who was running the contest at the time. I said, "Hey man, I know the X Games are coming up. I'm just wondering if I could be in them." And he was like, "Yeah, dude, we'll get you signed up. No worries." And I was like, "Okay, could I do dirt and park?" He's like, "Yeah, we'll get you in both." And
wow.
I just was like, "Don't mess with my emotions, man. You're telling me I'm gonna be in the X Games. Like, don't do this to me." And that was it, because when I signed up to be pro, there was only 13 people in the pro class. Like, that was it. There was it was like dudes like Miron, Osado, like just all these heavy hitting guys, like McCoy, like dudes that I looked up to. And I was like, dude, am I really going to do this? So yeah, like 97, I just asked if I could be in the X Games, and they're like, "Yeah, you're in the pro class. We can get you in there." And it was just like mind blowing. So fast forward, we're in San Diego, and I can't remember how I didn't park. I didn't medal or anything like that. I might have gotten 5th. That was like my
5th place.
Number.
5th place.
So that was like my magic number for like 96, 97, probably 98. But
Mr. Top 5.
Yeah, no, not bad. I'm not complaining about it. I was just like, I couldn't break that number for a while. But when I got to dirt, like that's what I grew up riding. So I went out there and we were getting through qualifying, and I remember just being like super chill, and I really liked the way the jumps were feeling. I was feeling good, and I went through qualifying, and it was just like, that was awesome. That was fun. And I looked over, and I was in 1st place, and I just like tripped out. Like I just felt instantly like, oh dude, like, and I remember looking around, and I was relatively unknown at that point still. And I just remember, and maybe this is me, but I just remember feeling like the eyes and like the target, like, like just right there. I remember just like feeling like, oh dude, things just changed. Like I'm the guy in 1st place now. And now they're looking at me like they want to beat me. Whereas before I was just this kid, I was out there. I was like, oh, I'm gonna try 360 this set. Oh, that worked out. Cool. So all of a sudden now I'm like feeling this intense pressure, and I'm going in knowing that, hey, I have what it takes to win the X Games. I just have to do what I'm supposed to do. And so I went through it, first 2 runs went in. I think they went okay, but I knew I needed this last run. And I just remember like messing up the first jump, messing up the second jump even worse, and then still like trying to push through and do like a 360 bar spin or something like that, and just came up like 7 feet short, like just not even close. Landed like on my side, feet went up over me, and just like on the ground. And like the most memorable part of that is at the time I had like a full-on chain wallet, but it was actual bicycle chain, so it was all like tangled stuff in my wallet. I'm riding with this big wallet
with a wallet in.
Yeah, it didn't make a lot of sense, but like I just was like, yeah, doing it. And then when I tumbled, everything fell out, and I just remember getting my wallet and just like swinging it, like, oh, I'm so pissed. And I ended up with 3rd, which wasn't bad, but like knowing that I was like that close, I think TJ Lavin, and knowing I was that close to being like a gold medalist my first year at the X Games, I was like, whoa. And all my homies were there from San Jose. They all came to watch. It was like this really amazing. It was like setting itself up for this like most amazing X Games experience ever. And I just was like, wasn't meant to be. But I think that honestly kind of fueled the fire, moving forward. Like just wanted to, knowing I was that close, I was like, okay, I need to get a higher medal. I need to get it. I think the next year I got silver, almost got the gold. And then it took a while, actually, a few years down, but I eventually got gold. And the rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, I was going to say, so that 97, I mean, winning, obviously competing in 2 events and earning a medal in dirt jumping, did it shift for you? Was that kind of that watershed moment? You know, as you said, you asked Steve Swope, hey, can I compete in this? Sure, go for it. And then you end up on the podium. At one point, you were first place in the contest. Was that kind of the catalyst for you and sort of your career after that?
Yeah, I'd say so. That was a pretty defining moment, just because, you know, like, you never know what you're capable of, especially with competing. Like, you don't know what's possible until you get out there and start trying it. And then the years of 96 and 97 were like such a, like, you know, like, use the term like snowball. Everything was just snowballing so fast, you know, and I was doing better than I was expecting. And, you know, just going to more contests, getting sponsors, getting invites to the X Games, going to the X. It was just like everything was kind of like progressing and moving. And so when you're in that kind of mode where things are moving fast and progressing and you're having fun and you're like, you know, traveling and doing all this stuff, it's like, it's really like you want it to keep going. It's exciting. So I think just knowing that I was able to go to the X Games and able to do so well and seeing that potential, you know, like, just really fueled that fire and made me want to just go out there and work harder and try to get that medal and try to like push the limits as far as the tricks I want to do. And X Games was always the stage for that. Like, it always was. You, like, you know, this is pre Instagram and pre Facebook and stuff like that, but like, you know, you worked all year long to like try to come to X Games with something new and something fresh that like people hadn't seen before, you know. And that's during the time when like you didn't get that instant gratification of turning on your phone and, you know, seeing what, you know, Logan Martin just did in Australia. You know, it's like you don't get that. So you could literally hold on to something and be like, this is for the X Games. And then if you had it dialed in and you pulled it on that stage, like, that was the ultimate. So yeah, like, I lived for that moment, like, of just like bringing something new to the table and putting it all together in a run and then walking away with some hardware. Like, that was the dream.
Well, every dominant performer, I think, across discipline, whether it's skate, BMX, motocross, snowboard, skiing, has that, you know, 1 or 2 season or year that they look back on as like, man, everything was clicking for me. And I look at your career, and you've had a number of years like that, but 2003, you know, from my vantage point, really stands out just from your contest performances and then the double gold. I mean, that's a very, very exclusive club as far as X Games athletes are concerned, to win 2 golds at a single X Games. Do you remember, you know, that 2003 X Games and maybe just that year as a whole as far as contests are concerned?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, yeah, like you said, the whole year was just like, I was just on fire. I think I won all but one contest that year. Like, every contest I entered except for one, I got first place in. So it was just like, you know, when you get into that rhythm and you have that confidence, it's insane. I heard Shaun White say once in like an interview or like a documentary that he just felt like the second he got on the mountain, he had an advantage. And it wasn't like he was given an advantage or anything. He just felt like his confidence put him in that situation where he just knew that he was going to do well if he did everything he was supposed to do. And whether you call that, you know, a natural advantage or whatever, he just felt that. And I remember like going to courses and being like, yeah, this is my contest to win, you know, and then feeling at the course and just knowing that if I did everything I was supposed to do and I put the work in at home to be dialed in, that I was going to walk away with a really good placing, you know. And that whole year felt that way. I mean, there's a number of years like that where it just, you had like, I felt like I had some good dominance, but 2003 for sure was just one of those years where it's just like whatever, man, this is insane. You know, it's just every course I went to, every dirt jump I hit, it was just like, it was just clicking, you know, like you're just in that flow state where it's just like, doesn't matter, man. It's all going to work out.
Do you have a favorite? Obviously, you've competed in hundreds of contests, but X Games specifically, do you have a particular year or moment, contest, venue that kind of stands out, you know, when you look back, you know, over the 24 years you've been involved, that just kind of, man, that was, you know, either I was feeling it or that's extraordinary, or I'll always remember that one moment. What's it been for you, especially as we celebrate now
Yeah.
25 years of X Games.
So I do, and it kind of spans over 2 years actually, and I'll give you a quick backstory. But there was Philadelphia, and it was we had dirt jumping indoors, and I remember, God, I can't remember what year Philly was, but
it was
probably
01, 02, I think
01,
is when it was in
01,
Philly.
02. Yeah, like I was riding. I was in a position to win the contest for dirt jumping, and it came down to the last run. And I remember I messed up. I can't remember I think it was a 720 or something like that. I slipped a handoff, and I crashed, and it was like done. I might have gotten third or second or something like that, but I just remember being like so upset, like just really, really angry at myself for making such a dumb mistake. And I remember going home and thinking about that moment for not years, months of just like mulling over it. And I remember like going, okay, I'm going to set myself up for success here. And I remember picking, at the time you could pick your songs, right? Like you could pick the songs you rode to. So I remember picking the first 2 songs, and at the time we had 3 runs. So I picked up, I think it was House of Pain, Jump Around, the first one, House of Pain, Jump Around, the second one. But the third one, knowing that I had been this position multiple times where it was like do or die, last run, you qualify first, you're the last one in the contest to go, all eyes on you. I remember picking Bittersweet Symphony by who was it by? The Verve? I can't remember.
Verve?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I picked that song, and I was like,
yeah,
okay, like if I'm in this situation again, I want that song to be playing, and I want to remember like what happened, and I want to make sure that doesn't happen again. And I remember going through the first run, I think I either messed up or didn't get as good a score. I won a second run, and it came down to the last run. And I remember the song coming on and getting goosebumps going like, I've been waiting all year for this. Like, I couldn't have predicted this, but I did. And this is playing out exactly like I thought, and I'm going to make it happen. And I remember dropping in and doing my run exactly the way I wanted to the T, with the song that I always imagined playing, and it working out and getting gold. And I just remember like, and I still get like goosebumps right now thinking about it, but I still remember like getting the score, getting first place. And then the cool thing was, and I hadn't heard it before, but they played that song when they announced my name to go to podium, Bittersweet Symphony. And then I remember in other events years later, for years, they played that song for like the winner of the medal ceremony. I was just like, I don't know. It was just such a cool, like year of just like, oh my God, like just like stressing it and thinking about it and not wanting it to happen again and being frustrated. And then like, just having it all unfold that exact same way. I was just like, this has to happen, because if I mess this up again, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I could do this all over again, a whole nother year of just stressing, but that's just how important it was to me as a competitor. Like, wow. I wanted to win, and so it was like a whole year went by. I was just thinking about that moment and how I wanted to pan out, and it did.
And that's such a great song. And I also think that it's like I can picture it like in a film, like as a montage song. Yeah. So now all I'm picturing is you falling, the defeat, the song comes on, and now it's a training montage of you in this song. And then finally you get back to X Games, and they put the gold medal around your neck as the song ends. Wow. Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm picturing it now.
You guys know some matters. I think you have the footage. Make it happen.
Yeah, they're producing this show. Hey, Ryan, dude, thank you so much for taking the time, man. I don't want to take up too much more. We could talk for more hours, man. But I really, really appreciate you taking the time and just so much going on with you of X Games lore of yesterday and still competing today and putting out edits and everything. So it's you've been somebody that we've wanted to talk to on the show for a long time. So we really appreciate it. Thank you, Ryan.
Oh yeah, man. It's been an honor. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. So best of luck all rest of the summer, and hopefully once this quarantine ends, we'll get to see you around and put some events on.
I'm so down with that.
All right, man. All the best, dude.
All right. Take care.
Thanks, Ryan.